pencil. I'm like, I'm in the guest room. Why are you even in here? Oh, okay. I just need to like start over. Are
Yep,
we
carry
good?
on.
Is it still, is it like recording from the last one?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Fresh start, take 2. All right. My name is Brielle Kennington, and I've been coaching for about 2.5 years. And I want to talk to you today about inviting. It's something I'm really passionate about, and I would say, the self-proclaimed invite queen. I think Mike has called me that once or twice, because I invite in massive numbers, but not in a gross way. I always build relationships first. But so back to where I was before I got cut off. My number one rule for all of my coaches on my team is don't wait to invite until you know everything. If you wait till you know everything, you're never going to invite anybody. I think people have this image in their heads about how what coaching is, but really I'm just my challenger's friend. I'm my coach's friend, and if I don't know something, I just look it up and I tell them. I'm doing this journey with them. I'm not the boss. Does that make sense? And I also tell them right off the bat when I'm setting expectations up for my challenge group that this is not the Brielle show. So I think that just if you go at it instead of thinking, will you join my challenge group? It's more of, do you want to do this with me? You talk about things that people can relate to, connecting with people beforehand. Then you're going to be able to say, hey, Jennifer, you said that you don't have energy to work out, and I totally relate to that. When I was first starting my journey, I felt like this. And when I did the portion containers, it completely changed the way I eat and my relationship with food and gave me the energy I needed versus just using my fitness pal and not eating enough calories. You connect with them and you invite them to just do it with you. Even if you don't have a big journey to do, just invite them to do it with you. Just say, this is what I'm doing. I thought you'd be a good fit because of XYZ. Also, no does not mean no. No means just not right now. Even I've had like people even be like a little like not mean, but a little abrasive about me inviting them. Well, they've all been in my challenge groups now. No just means not right now. You never know what happened. Their cat could have just died. Someone could have put a mean note on their windshield about how they parked. Just, you can't take it personally. This is not about you. Their responses to your messages are not about you. Another tip that I tell my team is use the voice messenger or get someone on the phone. Like when someone says they're interested in the challenge group, see if you can set up an appointment to chat with them. Just talk to them about it. You may be scared when you start the call, but then it's just going to come more naturally and you're just going to be able to talk to them and it won't be salesy. I don't know where that word came from, but a bunch of coaches are afraid of it. And it's just having a conversation with a human being. And if I can get somebody on the phone, they are way more likely to join my team or to join my challenge group because they can fully see what it's about and they can make the connection of what it can do for their lives and how that it can solve their problems. When I'm inviting, I ask a lot of questions first about them. It's almost like an interview. I I go in thinking I want to see if this is a good fit for you. Because if you go in with that, then you won't feel desperate, like you're trying to get Success Club points, and you'll see if it will be a good fit for somebody. There's been a few times where I've said, I don't know if this is the right timing for you. You might need to do XYZ first. Very few times. Usually it is the good fit because there's nothing cheaper, there's nothing healthier, and you don't get more support. And it works. So I truly believe that. But just asking them lots of questions. I ask them about their current nutrition. I ask them about their current exercise, and I let them know, like, no, no judgment if all you had was like a pizza and a donut today and like root beer. And no judgments if you aren't exercising at all. And I give them little tidbits of my story and how, what's the saying? It's like, I felt, I feel, I don't, there's like a saying people use about how you relate to how you felt, but then how it solved the problem. I also always end when we're talking, I end with a question so that it brings it back on them. Thank you. Feel, felt, found. Yes, that's perfect. That's what I use. And or felt, feel, found. I'm probably messing up the order, but just asking them lots of questions. One of my favorite questions to ask, especially about the joining my team, is what is your biggest reservation? Or what are your biggest reservations? And then we can just talk about it. And a lot of times they realize that like their fears are just like, it's just them being afraid. Like it's not, it's not a rational thing. That's what fear is. And then I ask them, what are you most looking forward to about the opportunity? And I do that also with my challenge groups. We have a conversation. Also, you have to follow up. And that's like probably one of my least favorites. I have no problem with initial contact and with conversations. Following up, that means you got to keep a list, and that means you need to check back in. And sometimes it's like weird because it's like they said they were interested, and then they like you say something and then they don't respond. And here's the message I say to those instances. I say, hey, hun, I don't know if you got my last message. If you're anything like me, you saw it, but then you got pulled away for the kids and then just forgot, totally spaced responding. Because it puts it back on you. And like a lot of times they message me back and say, yes, that's exactly what happened. But then they feel like a big jerk responding like 2 weeks later. Oh, yeah, I'm still interested. So you have to follow up. How many times did it take for you to join? I mean, think about how many invites, how many follow-ups, how many conversations. Like it was probably a ton. And it's the same for other people. It's usually around 7. And that seems like a lot, but that's why you keep a list and you go back to the people. And it goes back to the thing I said, no just means not right now. And so I always say, is it better timing? This was your issue before. Do you think that this program with this specific thing could help with that type of thing? Just know them, do a little research, and keep a list of names of people that you've invited, because it's getting them on board is in the follow-up. Also, to kind of give you a heads up, I don't want this to discourage you. I want it to help you reach your goals. But my like average is like a 10-to-1 ratio. So if I want to hit SD10, I have to send out 100 invites. Not always. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, but that's like a pretty good base for me to judge my goals off of, and to set and to know how many invites I have to send daily. I kind of backtrack. So the same for the team. It's 10-to-1. So the 1 month I hit SC24, and I had all these coaches messaging me and saying like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I was just like, I invited 160 people from Instagram. And I invited the people that liked the post, not commented. I'm not one of those coaches that shares something and does a call to action and like gets like all these people saying, yeah, me, send me messages. I'll get like maybe 4 or 5 and be like, woo, and then they all fall through. But I message every single liker, and I say, this is like what I say. I'll say, Jennifer's, she's like my plug-in name I always use. Generic white girl. Hey, Jennifer, thank you so much for liking my post. I sent him the picture first. Hey, Jennifer, thank you so much for liking my post. Were you interested in more information about the coaching opportunity or the challenge group, or were you just showing some love? When did it drop? What did I end on?
You're saying
You ended on,
thank you.
yeah, showing some
so much
love.
for showing some love.
Okay, or just showing some love. I hope I don't like, what is going on? I'm so angry. Just showing some love. And a lot of people, it's just literally, oh, just showing some love. And I just say, I really, really appreciate it. It keeps me going. I just didn't, what do I say? I say, I like to reach out so that you don't feel invisible. And some people are too shy to comment, but they're interested. And that like takes the pressure off, and it makes us have a connection if we haven't had one before. And then I can write them on a list of some sort. Like I know they're watching my stuff, and I can start commenting on their stuff and sending them messages about some of the stuff that they're doing. And a lot of them, like then like after you use that message, you can see in your messenger like, oh, I already sent that message. So I'll usually just send some sort of message about how like you should do this with me, or that it'd be like a dream come true because of like XYZ to have them in the group, because by that point you've been building a relationship with them. But you'll start to see the same people commenting, following, and liking your stuff, and they really are shocked, and it makes them feel good to be noticed. And I've only gotten good responses from sending those messages. People are just surprised and flattered that I even looked at the people that are liking. And it just helps to build the relationship further. Okay. Either Aaron is super still or it's frozen. No, we're good.
Brielle,
Okay.
on that post that you do, or the response that you do, and you sent a picture of the post you put up.
Right. So if they liked a transformation picture, I'll send that same picture. Cause like I've had people send me messages and say, oh, thanks for XYZ. And I'm like, I don't remember. I'm like, double tap, double tap,
Okay.
double tap, double tap.
Yeah.
So I sent it to them to like refresh their memory. And then it helps me keep track of when we talked and
Sure.
what they're really liking. And sometimes if they've said I'm just showing some love, I'll send them a message asking them what kind of posts would add the most value to their lives. So that way I can I'm speaking to my person and my tribe, and it's just helping to build the relationship that much more. And it looks more professional. Like this is something I do. I am a coach. I'm not just someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just posting about my health and fitness journey, that I'm an actual health and fitness coach. So probably one of my favorite personal development books for inviting. I have a lot of favorites. These are my most favorite. I really love the Go Giver series. That helped me to not feel guilty for like adding people to my network and building relationship with them and just inviting them. Because at first I was like, I don't want people to become numbers. I just want to help people. I sincerely want to help people. As Miss America as that sounds, I just want to help people. But you have to message people, and you have to keep lists, and you have to add people to your network, or you can't help people. And so reading the Go Giver series really helped me with that. Get Over Your Damn Self. Aaron recommended that to me. Holy cow. Seriously, I wish I would have read it like 2 years ago. It's an amazing one. I'm still reading that one right now. And I also loved the Go for No. Because it's just, yes, we're in the business of helping people, but it's a numbers game. So you can't get upset when you're like, I sent out 12 invites and I still don't have a challenger. I'm like, well, I sent out 160. like you can't compare. When you see that success board, like it's effort, and it builds momentum. For every power hour you do, it's like you're pedaling up a hill, and you just have to, it's just little power hours here and there, invites consistently over time. Also, I think the more you do it, the easier it gets. And also something that kind of sobered me in the very beginning and helped me overcome my fear of inviting was I was inviting friends, just kind of going through the memory jogger and inviting people and talking to them about what I've been doing. And two of them said, oh, I'm actually a coach already. And I thought we were like relatively close. We like played bunco together and went to book club together and went to like recipe swap together. And I was like, at first I was a little embarrassed that I didn't know, like I had like done something wrong. But then I was like, wait a minute, no. You didn't invite me. And I was in such a bad place at that time in my life. I don't know if you know anything about my transformation, but I've released 82 pounds, and I was almost 100 pounds overweight. I'm 5'2". Had anxiety, depression. I was showering in the dark. I wouldn't go shopping. I was wearing maternity clothes when my babies were like over 1 year old. And just, I was afraid to like drive more than like 30 minutes away from my house. And I was just in such a survival mode, struggling to stay like above water stage, that I thought I needed you. And like, I see my life now and I see my life then. And I just think, why didn't you invite me? I needed you. And I don't know if I would have said yes at that point, but it would have been a seed planted, and I would have known their intentions were sincere, and it would have been a lot more comfortable coming from them than coming from a doctor inviting me to do the HCG injections, which I did because I was so desperate. So that was a turning point for me. And I just think about that girl. I think about myself, and kind of like a saying, I don't know if this is my saying or if I got this from personal development. I think it's mine. It's not our job to change people's lives. It's our job to invite people to change their lives. And that was just a really just sobering experience for me. And so now I don't want anyone to ever think, why didn't you invite me? Didn't you want me? Didn't you think that I could benefit from this? Because everybody can benefit from this, but it's their choice if it's for them, but you still have to invite everybody. But just build those relationships first. So if you're struggling with inviting, you can write this down and answer it. Maybe even say it out loud. What if you weren't invited? So you can write that down. What if I wasn't invited? Just think about it. And that just makes it seem so silly to not invite, doesn't it? Like, just to think about where our lives would be if we weren't invited.
I love that.
I'm gonna make sure I'm not missing any chats. I love the Go Giver. Yes, I love that it's not our place to judge who it's for and who it's not. Sorry, I'm like touching my phone. You're probably like, what is she doing? Right, and you can't take it personally. It's not about you. None of this is about you. All you can do is invite. Does anybody have any specific questions about inviting? The logistics of it, that type of, like, anything?
So on those posts that you do, I always feel like sometimes I cold invite to that, and I feel like I like your wording on it, because I think I'm going to change mine up a bit, because sometimes I feel kind of icky about it. But like, so you don't necessarily, if they're like new to liking your post, you don't necessarily go and try to comment on theirs before inviting. I find myself sometimes I get into a hole. Like, if I feel like I'm just inviting from my post, I feel like they're like, I don't want to be that creepy, I always think about Micah, like, no, gross, who are you? I don't even know you type of thing, versus do I go in and comment, and then I feel like, shoot, I kind of lost, you know what I mean, who those people were. I like how you put that.
I think if you've already, yeah, like I go in at like thanking them for liking my post, and they're already watching you.
Yeah.
And they might already feel connected to you, whether you feel connected to them or not. So I would just say, like, I didn't want you to feel invisible, and I wanted to reach out to make sure you realize that you totally have a spot, and I'd love to have you in my group if it's something that would benefit from you. Would you like more information? So I don't go and like comment on all their stuff and then send them the follow-up message. It's more of just they already touched base. You've already had some sort of connection. Especially Instagram, things move quicker in Instagram. People feel more connected in Instagram, and people aren't like, who are you? People guard their Facebook friends lists. Like, they're like, do I know you? Yeah. I'm like, well, I just admitted you into my ADHD parent support group. Can't we be buddies? Like, so yeah, especially like I'll go in and like sometimes there's no message. I don't like recognize their face. So it's not, hey, do you want to join my challenge group? It's talking about how they saw it and they connected with you and thanking them for being part of your journey. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love
And
that.
if it's not for them or they're not interested, and that's when I lead with what types of stuff do you really like seeing? Like, is there something that you'd like to see more that would add more value to your life? And I give examples like motivation, food, real struggles, mom life, that type of thing.
I love that, Brielle. And I like how you also said for the people who like where you say, I don't want you to feel invisible. And I want you to know that I see you. And some people just don't feel comfortable commenting. And I love that because I feel like I always say the little part of thanks so much for showing some love. I really appreciate that. Were you interested or just showing love? Like that gets a little stale. So I like where you say, I don't want you to feel invisible.
And it's true. And sometimes I'll even send messages if I'm like going through, like gonna re-invite somebody or I'm going to follow up with somebody. If I see that they haven't posted in a while, I'll send them a message and say, are you okay? You haven't posted since like before Christmas. Is everything going okay? And like, they are like shocked. And I like care, you know, and it's a good way to touch base and just be a human being. I've had like so many instances where people will even say like, this may sound weird, but like, I feel like you were meant to send that message. I'm like, no, that's not weird, because before I start every single power hour, I say a prayer to find the people that need my help, or to find the people that are ready to start their journey, or that for the coaching opportunity. You're allowed to pray for your business. You're allowed to pray for people that you're going to connect with. Like that's probably not politically correct to like talk about prayer and stuff, but it's what I do. And I try to let my coaches and team in on everything I'm doing, because I can't say like, oh, I'm just successful because I'm a people person and I'm not afraid of inviting. No, like I have some methods that I use. So I don't think there's anything else. I've been stewing over it for a while and like keeping a list of all the stuff that I do. But yeah, the month that I hit SE24 and I sent out the 160 invites on Instagram, none of the people that commented got challenge packs. It was, all of them were from people liking the post and just having a conversation. Because a lot of them will say something like, I wish I had your motivation. That's like, you don't just say thank you. You like, you go with it. You have a conversation with them. You know what I mean? Like, so some people will actually like start to engage with you and you can have a conversation with them. So, or if they have objections, then you can talk about those objections in your posts because you know that they're already watching. Does that make sense?
I have a question.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So, I like took like this little break from like social media because I was doing my student teaching, so I could just never get on like while I was teaching. And now that I'm like back getting on it, I feel like people, like a lot of my friends aren't posting anymore, but they're just like all doing only stories, which is like, I feel like recently kind of come up with Instagram and Facebook with the stories. So do you do the same thing as you would like on a post of theirs on their story? Like, do you guys like comment on their story or reply to their story? I don't even know how it works.
So you get preference in the algorithm for any social networking thing you're using if you use the most current new feature. So like doing Instagram Live, doing Instagram stories, watching people's Instagram stories, commenting. I watch all the Instagram stories and I comment on every single one.
Okay, so you do
and then,
like comment.
And it builds relationships so much faster. And then I've also been trying to incorporate a lot more Instagram stories because I've noticed the same thing. Like tons of people that I follow on Instagram stories, if you go to their page, there's like nothing for like months.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So yeah, definitely. That's like always use the most recent feature. Yeah. Always, because they give you preference in the algorithms. Are people asking questions in the chat? It says I have 6% battery. I
I also go through people who have watched my story and message all of them. Like, I see you've been watching my story every day. Thanks so much for watching me. Is there anything specific you like to see? And I just start conversations that way.
Right. Right. Also, starting conversations, a good one is sending a message when you see you have a new follower.
Give them social.
I have like a generic message that I have in my phone. I need to get in on it. I'm too lazy to set it up.
It got my followers from 400 to 1900 in like a month.
Oh, nice.
And not all of them are people that I want, but I sold last month 6 challenge packs were people I didn't follow, but Stim followed. So
what is this?
Stim Social is a networking thing that you can get that you pay for them to go find followers. So you put in like the specific things you want. Like I put female around this age range, and I put accounts that I really like that are like either family oriented or mom oriented, or, you know, all the things that I'm involved in, homeschool and those kind of things. And then it finds people who like those same other people that I like,
but
and that are my type of people.
Don't do fitness stuff.
Don't
do fitness related.
Nothing fitness.
Oh, okay.
They're already watching.
You'll just
fitness.
get a bunch of coaches.
Yeah. I want people who are looking at family, looking at recipes, looking at, you know, like, these are my kind of people. And so a lot of them I'll go unfollow, but that's the people that I sold my challenge packs to. And it was worth it to pay the money, $40 for them to go do that in a month, than me sitting and Instagram's tedious. It takes a lot of time to find the right people on Instagram. So it was worth it for me.
And guys, if you're worried about the $40, let me just tell you that a few months ago, I hired some guy from the Philippines, and it was $250 a month.
$40, and I sold 6 challenge packs out of it, though, in a month. So here you go.
Yep.
Totally worth it. Yeah, inviting is something I just need to be more consistent on every single day. Do you invite, or do you go through your likes just on your fitness posts or call to actions, or do you do it on every post?
Just the call to action stuff. Also, I do it. So instead of doing like 3 a day or 5 a day or whatever, I'll do some sort of call to action post and then do like 160 of them. So I have like my weekly focus. I have like a building relationship. I have inviting to challenge groups. I have coach. Anytime we're doing some sort of sneak peek, I blitz a bunch. And then like usually there's like some sort of buffer where something's happening that we need to put more focus into, and that's when I do like the 4th week. So really you just have to find a system that works for you. I really like I was using TeamZ for a while, and that worked really well for me. It's just hard that it's like on your computer, to whereas if I have like my notebook and a pen, I can just, it's all over my house, and I can just like write it down quick so I don't forget to follow up with somebody.
Yes. So good. So good.
Any other questions about inviting? Like, I want to hear like what your big like hangups are with inviting. Like, what are your struggles? Knowing what to say, like.
Mine has always been, I'm afraid of what people are going to think. That's like, and I think way too much about it. I'm like, oh, this is going to, when I see them at church, or when I see them at school dropping off, you know, kids or something, I always worry about that, where I know that that's not my job to worry about that. And should not affect me at all. So that's something I just have to get past. And how I have been doing it lately is by doing my invites first thing when I wake up, 5 a.m. Invites are first thing, because I don't have time to work it out. I put on some pump you up music, and then I just do it.
Yep. Well, and I have like the opposite problem. I'm the girl that like, for my 30th birthday, I wanted to have a party, and my husband's like, okay, you can invite like this many people. And I'm like, I don't want someone to feel left out. So like we'd have to have like a reception hall. So I worry what they would think if they didn't get an invite.
That's
like,
better.
Would they think that I don't think that they're like able to do the group, or that they're not able to pay for it, or that I just don't want them in it? So I think personal development is the only way to like move past that. But I like what you said about doing it first thing, because I've been doing my follow-ups first thing because I just don't like it. I'd rather just talk to people and send invites and not ever follow up with anybody. So do the thing you hate the most first. Did anyone else have something?
I always feel like I rush it, right? Like I get so nervous. I don't know, like I feel like I don't build enough value behind it. So I think because I'm trying to get it done with. Does that make sense? Like I
Yep.
get all nervous. Like I can send the invite and then I hold off on the follow-ups because I don't either want to see their no or see their objection, instead of just opening it up and being like a boss and being like, okay, what you got? Like throw it at me, because I gave them all to Micah, right? And so I think that's always my thing. And then so I either don't add enough value and I rush through it, and then that probably doesn't help because they're like, no. You know what I'm saying?
You have to remember that you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Like the sneak peek I was invited to for the coaching opportunity was the worst sneak peek I've ever seen in my life. Like now that I know like how to run a sneak peek, it was like the videos were hours long, but I watched them. You know what I mean? Like it's every action you take, every invite, every message, every connection you make, it's just a seed you've planted.
Yeah.
And then like if it's a follow-up to one you've planted, you're just watering it. And eventually, even if they never join your group, something will come from that connection, from just being a human being. I feel like I'm more real and connected to people for the first time in my life, because I'm having like really connecting with people and just being open, and people that I've even known for a very long time, I feel like I know them now for the first time. And it stems from me just inviting and connecting relationship, even if they're on a list. Those feelings are still real. So I definitely say like open up those messages first thing, and it gets easier the more you do it. Just with anything. Like remember like the first like time you did a push-up? You remember the first time you did a tricep back or whatever those things are called? It feels super awkward. And you're like, am I doing this right? Like same thing with inviting. You might think, am I doing this right? And when I first invited, I like word vomited. I like hadn't built enough relationship and connecting back with people. But I hit SC 18 my first month because it's okay if you're excited, and just be real with people. Just be yourself, and they'll see the real you. And like I said before, anyone who has anything negative to say or anything negative they're thinking, that's on them. It's not about. I was that girl. I hated Beachbody coaches. I used to block them, and I had it in my profile on Instagram, no Shakeology, no wraps, because anytime I ever posted my transformation, I got like thousands of messages from all these super annoying coaches and super annoying It Works girls saying, girl, you could tighten up that extra skin from losing 80 works wrap. No, I cannot. So just be real, and also screenshot and send it to Erin. Like that's what I have my coaches do. I'm like, if you're having a conversation and you're worried about what to say next, screenshot it and send it in our message pod, and we'll just figure it out together. And you don't have to respond like immediately. Also something from the Get Over Your Damn Self book is, she said, if they're like interested, instead of like this give them 2 different times that you think would work for them and you to pick from, and say, let's chat. Let's just talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It saves everybody so much time.
I love it.
And so
I love
much
it. And I love phone conversations. You just get down to it.
Yes. And then you can just talk about, they're just going to talk to you about it then, instead of, because they're not going to message and say, well, I have reservations about this. But if you say, oh, what are your biggest reservations? Then you can get down to, it's not the money. They don't believe that they're going to do it this time.
Mm-hmm.
It's about self-belief. It's not about the money. It's never about the money, because if you knew you were going to have results, you'd pay whatever you had to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you know what I mean? Like, if I knew I was going to lose 80 pounds, I would have paid $10,000. You know what I mean? So it's about self-belief. So talking to them, like getting them on the phone, doing voice messenger is better than just messaging back and forth. And people like hearing your 2-year-old asking for yogurt. They like hearing your dog barking. Like, it's funny, and it's
part of being real too.
And, right, exactly. And so just have conversations with people. Just talk to them. I'm not a copy paste type of girl usually. I haven't looked at any of the scripts in the Google Office, the Google Drive on the team page. But I like what you said. Who was it? Somebody said, I'm going to take what you write, but like change it a little bit. Shalene Johnson at Summit, she said that exact thing. Borrowed words are for the birds, or something like that. Like, if you see someone's post that you're like, oh, that is right on, you can copy it, but then you need to change it so that it's your wording. Mm-hmm. Same thing with like all the things that I've told you tonight, like about, hey, just, are you showing some love, or are you interested in more information? Change it just a little bit. Like, I never say, hey girl. Right. That's not me. I say hun all the time, but I also say hun all the time in person. So mine is, hey hun. You know what I mean? Like, just make it your own and just be yourself, and don't worry what people think, because maybe a few years down the road, they'll have been invited to the coaching opportunity, and they'll think, why didn't she invite me? Because just think about what Beachbody has done for you and what the challenge.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brielle.
I'm very grateful.
This was so fun. You guys have a great team.